Hey guys, what's up? It is Dylan here, and just in the studio that I showed you guys in the video a few days ago. Going to be working on my Team Associated B4.2 that had a servo malfunction at the track. It was a few months ago. I was just driving, having fun with Christopher, and it broke on me, which is expected from these stock servos. They're not very good. They're not made to last. You're going to have to upgrade pretty quickly, because as the car gets better, you just have to get better parts to keep it from breaking. So, went to the hobby shop, made the biggest investment I've had in RC in a long time, bought this $80 Savox servo. I don't know any of the specs on it, but I'm going to look at it here in a second. So, all I know is that it's fast, because the guy who I bought it from told me that I'm definitely going to have to work with it a little bit, because it's going to be a huge difference from this servo going into this one because of just the overall quality of it. So I'll be back in a second with some of the specs of the Savox. Alright, so I just took the servo out of the packaging, and this is the Savox SC-1258TG servo. Not really sure if that means anything to you, but that's just pretty much the brand model on it. And it also came with some stickers here and a few other just additional parts. See if it'll zoom in there. So this is the thing I'm going to be installing into the car, which we're going to start right now by just taking off the wheels and taking out the battery pack. Alright, so I went on ahead, took out the battery pack, and also took off all the wheels. And while I was at it, I went on ahead, went over to my receiver box, undid the two screws that keep it together, and took the receiver box cover off, and also unplugged the stock servo from the receiver. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go up to the bumper here and remove these two screws so I can go on ahead and start taking off the front assembly. Now that I've taken those two screws out, I can go on ahead and remove the front bumper. And as you'll see, there are two more screws I'm going to have to take out. Now that all four of those screws have been taken out, I need to remove these four screws on the top of the car right here that connect to the shock tower. So now that I took those four screws off, this whole shock tower is disconnected from the front part of the car. And the only thing I haven't figured out yet is how to remove the turnbuckles from the front hub carrier or knuckle or whatever you want to call it. Because I think that these just kind of snap off, but I'm not very comfortable with doing that. So if you guys know how to do that, leave me a comment telling me how to do it. So for now, I'm just going to remove this little grub screw on the bottom here, and then take out this push rod, so that way I can just take the whole front knuckle off. Alright, so now that I've done that, these front knuckles are going to just come off like this. And now I should be able to just take the whole front assembly off the car. Like that. I'll lay over to the side for a minute. Now the next thing I'm going to have to do is remove those three screws, so that way I have better access to the servo. So now that I took those three screws out, this whole front part right here is just going to flip over to the side, and you have full access of the servo. And the next thing you're going to need to do is remove the screw that connects the servo horn to the servo, and also remove the four screws, two on each side, to actually take the servo out. As you can see, I just took the screw out of the servo horn right here, and now I can just pull this part off, move it to the side, and now I can remove the four screws that connect the servo to the car. Alright guys, so I just removed those four screws. They were a pain in the butt, but I did it. So now I can take the servo out. And just be aware, there are some spacers, if you can see these. Here, let me grab them. There's just some spacers that go in between the servo little mounts and the servo. And also be aware that there are washers on each one of the screws. So depending on what servo you get, it'll tell you in the manual what size of the little spacers you need. Mine still just need these regular sort of, I think there's the regular ones. But now I'm going to put the new servo in and replace those 4 screws. Alright, so I reattached those 4 screws, and now I also put the servo horn on there, if you can see. And now I'm going to reattach this part by reinstalling those 3 screws. So now that I've attached the 3 screws, it's all set up like this. Now I'm going to take this front assembly and slide it right into here and reattach the 4 screws that connect the front part of the body to the shock mount. Now that I've put those 4 screws in, I'm going to take these and the front knuckles and reattach them into the part that is being held on by the A-arm. Since I've now reinstalled the front section of the car, I'm going to need to take this, put it into the correct slot on my receiver, and then close the receiver box. Alrighty, now that everything is in place, and my servo is right there, and I have reattached the receiver cover on top of the receiver box, all I have to do is put some wheels on and put in a battery and test it out. Alright guys, so I just turned it on, and as you can see here, it's working. I didn't put the back wheels on. So, thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, go on ahead and leave me a like. Any questions, you can put them in the comments. And if you haven't, go on ahead and subscribe to the channel. And also, I'm going to be competing in a race tomorrow at Wildflower, so be expecting some video to come up with that. And I'll see you guys later.